guys, happy Thursday. Today we are going to read Andrew Jackson one more time as a close read, talk about it a little bit more, and then I'm going to go over the worksheet with you. And you'll submit just one page of the worksheet, and we will be done for today. And don't forget to study your spelling words, okay? Your test is tomorrow. So, Chapter 9, Andrew Jackson. You need your readers for this, and it is on page 78 again. After the Battle of Baltimore, both sides began to get tired of the war. They called a meeting. Men from both sides sat down to try to form a peace treaty. Remember, peace is when you're friendly with each other. You are no longer fighting, and a treaty is agreement. So they were trying to form an agreement to no longer fight. But in the meantime, the war went on. So even though both sides were sitting down and talking about it, while people were discussing how they would reach an agreement, the war was still happening. The British sent troops to attack the city of New Orleans on the Gulf of Mexico. And here is a picture of what the Gulf of Mexico might look like at New Orleans. You can see why New Orleans is an important place if you look at the map on the next page. The city is located at the mouth of the Mississippi River, right where the river drains into the Gulf of Mexico. So the mouth of a river is the part that where the water flows into the ocean, okay? From New Orleans, you can travel north along the Mississippi River. You can also turn off onto other rivers that feed into the Mississippi, like the Ohio River. These rivers are like highways that lead right into the middle of North America. So here you go. We'll go scroll down again, just like we did yesterday. Here's the Mississippi that flows right down the middle of our country. This is the Missouri and the Arkansas River and the Illinois and the Ohio and the Tennessee River. So they all flow into the Mississippi, which flows into the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. So, and right here is the mouth of the river. Okay. In 1814, New Orleans was already an important big port. Lots of ships landed there. That doesn't mean like planes land. It means ships sailed into the port and stopped there to trade with other countries. Farmers could ship their goods down the river and sell them in New Orleans. Traders could unload goods in New Orleans and ship them up the river. New Orleans was an important city, not only for the people who had homes there, but also for the farmers up the river in places like Ohio and Kentucky. If the British took New Orleans, they could control trade along the Mississippi. Farmers in Ohio and Kentucky would be cut off. The Americans could not let this happen. They sent an army to defend the city. The army was led by a man named Andrew Jackson. You need to stop until I'm done. Thank you. And here, again, we could see the Mississippi River. Andrew Jackson was from Tennessee. He had joined the U.S. Army during the American Revolution. That is when we first gained our independence from Great Britain. At the time, he was just a boy. He was too young to fight. He carried notes from place to place. So he would carry notes for our army back then, and he was like almost like a message deliverer, like a spy, because he was too young to fight. So he would carry the notes. During the Revolution, Jackson and his brother were taken prisoner by the British. It was a difficult time for them. They were treated badly. They almost starved to death. Jackson's brother got sick and died. So unfortunately, when you are taken prisoner, prisoners were always treated pretty badly, and his brother didn't make it. While he was a prisoner, Jackson had a run-in with a British officer. That doesn't mean that he ran into him. That means they had a disagreement. And here's what they disagreed about. The man ordered Jackson to clean his boots. Jackson was proud and stubborn. He refused. So even though Jackson was younger than this British person in the army, he knew that what the man was asking him to do wasn't right, and he said no. The man shouted at Jackson. Still, Jackson refused. The man struck or hit Jackson with his weapon. Jackson was left with a scar on his face. As a result of this, Andrew Jackson had no love for the British. He was happy to fight them again as an army general when the War of 1812 broke out. So now that he's older and he's an army general, he was more than happy to go up against the British this time. And here's a portrait of Andrew Jackson. Jackson had not been trained as a soldier, but he was bold and strong. His mother had died when he was young. He had gotten by on his own as an orphan. He made his own way in life, which orphans often have to do. When you are an orphan, that means that you don't have any living mom or dad or relative to take care of you. So you are completely on your own. During the first part of the War of 1812, Jackson battled against Native Americans in the West. Many Native Americans had sided with the British. Jackson's men called him Old Hickory because he was as strong as a knotty old piece of hickory wood. So hickory is a very strong piece of wood, and the knotty parts of any wood is very hard to cut through, to chop through, because the knots are the parts where the branches grow out, so it's the strongest part. So they nicknamed him Old Hickory because he was a strong person, not just strong physically, but mentally in his mind. In 1814, Old Hickory was given an important job. He was told to raise an army to protect New Orleans. Jackson rushed to the city. He picked up new troops along the way. Many of the men who joined him were farmers, but there were also free African Americans, Native Americans, and even pirates. When Jackson arrived, he ordered his ragtag army to set up walls and get ready for an attack. Then they waited. So his ragtag army was an army made up of a whole bunch of different type of people that came together, and they were all just united for the same reason, to fight against the British. Here we have him as leading the army as a general, and he's on horseback, and you could see closely the scar. And now we will read tomorrow, chapter 10, the end of the war. So that's what we had to read today. And if we look at our workbook page, it is 24.1, and it's mixed practice. It's practicing grammar rules. So the first page is correct capitalization and punctuation for each sentence. So you have to rewrite the sentence and fix the capitals and the punctuation. And this number here tells you that there are 4 mistakes. So right away I'm looking at it, and the name John, which we know names have to be capitalized, but also the beginning of sentences have to be capitalized. So John and Nancy went on a trip to the city of Washington to see cherry blossoms. So I'm thinking right away, capitalize the J, capitalize the N for Nancy. We know a city's name is Washington, so that needs to be capitalized. And then it needs some sort of punctuation at the end. So you're going to rewrite it and fix that, and you're going to do that for this entire page. Then here's some practice changing the following singular words to plural. Singular means one, plural means more than one. So fox needs to change to foxes, dog needs to change to dogs, cat to cats, bird to birds, and horse to horses. Okay, so make sure you do that. Circle the correct tense of the verb in each sentence. So you're going to read the sentence and you're going to circle if it's present, past, or future. Our class will go on a trip tomorrow. Will means it hasn't happened. Tomorrow tells you it hasn't happened, so that means future. Next page, circle complete if it's a complete sentence, incomplete if it's not a complete sentence. And remember, a complete sentence has to have a subject, which tells what the sentence is about, and a predicate that tells what the subject is doing. Ice cream cone. That's not complete. I wouldn't just look at you and say ice cream cone. Okay, I would say I have an ice cream cone. That would be complete. So this is incomplete, so you need to circle it. Next one, combine the ideas of the run-on sentences and write a single sentence with correct capitals and punctuation. So we want to combine them. So we have the cat is fuzzy, the cat is soft, the cat is gentle. Oh boy. So we want to combine all of that. So you might say the fuzzy cat is soft and gentle. I have every single detail in the same sentence. Perfect. This is the page 141, that you're going to submit. So complete and incomplete, and combining the sentences. So submit that page. And that is it. And make sure you study for your spelling test. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.